you need to know. What you need to know. What you need to know. What you need to know.
You are now about to witness the strength of street knowledge.
My logic is undeniable.
EA Sports. It's one of the best sellers in video game history.
Welcome to John Madden Football.
It's in the game.
Know It All Nation, thanks for tapping in on another Thursday night to another episode of the JAG2G podcast. I'm the Jag of the bunch. I'm just a guy, but as always, I got my two homie geniuses with me, Rory and Steven. What's good, fellas?
What's up, Kev? What's up, people?
Morning, Rory. Morning, Tate.
Evening, but all the same.
Yes. Sorry.
Let me find him.
Yeah, that's big fun. Yeah, that's big fun right there.
Let's start the show off a good way. It wasn't even for a microphone infraction or nothing like that. Just the fact, we'll let the people know, I'm sure they know by now we're recording, but we try and carry like it's Thursday evening. But yeah, man, fellas, what's up? We're back for another week. I'm going to let Steven explain what we're going to talk about. He's going to bring in a guest. But before that, you saw initially, right after the intro, we had our disclosure up. You know how we feel about the disclosure. All the views we say are our own and doesn't represent that of the KnoItAllz channel, but each individual person that's actually a host or a guest on the podcast, their views and opinions and expressions are of their own. We won't let anything get X-rated, but we encourage people to talk about regarding the topic and say what they want to say. So that being said, last thing before I pass over to Steven, we got some unfinished business. If you guys watched one of the last episodes, you'll remember there was a little bit of a back and forth about who he say, she say, and all that. And I said on that show, I got the tape, bro.
You like that nigga, you always trying to put on a show.
Yo, dog, let me get a dub of this motherfucker, man. This is bad, man.
Oh, shit. Man, fuck that. I'm selling these motherfuckers for $59.95. Hey, let me talk to you for a minute. Hey, hold my motherfucking shit down. Nigga, I know you ain't dumb enough to be showing niggas the robbery tape, man. What's up with that?
Man, cool out, nigga. We just having fun with the motherfucking tape.
Look, nigga, I told you to stop showing the fucking tape.
Man, why you keep on bitching about my tape, man?
Without the tape, they had nothing.
Yeah, nigga. Ooh, I bet you Kane won't be laughing after 5-0 get a hold of this motherfucking tape. You bet that shit, nigga.
So any things you want to add to that, Roy, about Grant Hill or your thoughts on him or just in general?
He was one of the first celebrity marriages that I remember. You know what I'm saying?
He married some foreign chick, a Canadian, not
Tamia.
Not Melania. Not Melania. What's her name?
Tamia.
Tamia, the singer.
Singer Tamia, yeah.
He everybody wanted Tamia. Grant Hill got her. I mean, he was.
Yeah, so we just go back with that, and I'm going to actually have to go back and.
I wasn't everybody.
No, you were part of everybody. That's definitely a thing. But yeah, man. So like I said,
how are you not included in everybody, Rory? How now are you trying to back away from? You said everybody.
That was the worst tape, Kev. That was the worst. First, I had to endure the profanity from Menace to Society.
I mean, the only got to talk about. I'm actually going to edit that out. Don't worry, because as I watched it and listened to it, it was too much. But if you remember the movie Menace to Society, we had a clip that's now been taken out where I said, "Oh, I got the tape, bro. I got the tape." So if you remember that movie, I let Roy know at that time. I got the tape. He said, "Get the tape." We got the tape, and it's a thing, and it's proven. We keep receipts around here, so whatever we say, we can always backtrack and go find it. But
we did try to tell you said that though. We did both say, "Hey man, you definitely said that," because we remember.
I didn't say that I wanted her personally. I said everybody, and that's hyperbolic statement.
It's funny to me, Stephen. He said that about Tamia, and he blamed. We were talking the other week about Derek Jeter, and Roy. We was talking about it recently. Roy said Derek Jeter takes everybody's girl. Sound like to me, Roy wanted Grant Hill's girl.
Yeah, that's kind of what it sounds like, man.
Like Derek Jeter didn't date Tamia.
No, but sound like you said something about Derek Jeter taking people's girls. It sounds like you wanted to take Grant Hill's girl.
People were crying. The Mariah Careys. He dated all of New York City.
Hey,
I mean, listen, bro. I'm not going to knock somebody because if that's what they want to do, okay?
He did. I don't care. I'm
definitely not knocking somebody for doing that. Come on, stop this word.
I don't care.
We got different type of appreciations for our athletes and our star athletes and stuff like that. Like I like Jeter, I like Brady, I just like Dr. J, I just like all the cool guys that was winners and was cool. Jeter was so cool, Brady's so cool. Dr. J back in the day is so cool. Like I got appreciation for all them kind of guys, man. And you obviously feel a way about them.
I agree. I think they're great.
Hey, man, with that being said, man, we're going to get the show. So I'm going to pass it over to Steven, and we're going to talk about what we're going to talk about this week. Steven, go ahead and tell us what we talking about today, man.
You guys saw a little snippet of it in the intro, but today we're going to be talking about Madden's game. That's right. John Madden Football, or as most of the youth know it now, is just Madden, and then the year. But first introduced in 1988, John Madden was the first 11-on-11 digital football game. And before we really get into it, we actually want to bring in a guest that has some expertise about Madden, been playing since the beginning. I didn't catch his handle. Is his handle just Damien? Damien, thanks for joining us. If you want to introduce yourself for a minute, that'd be great.
Hello, what's going on, y'all? I'm Damien. I'm Kevin's younger brother. I'm back here in Ohio. Yeah, like you said, I've been playing Madden since the very beginning, the very initial first one.
All right, thanks a lot. We're gonna jump right into it. I think ultimately the first thing I'm gonna break down for you guys is where like the initial beginnings. Like I said, the first Madden Football came out in 1988 for MS-DOS and the Apple II computer. It's really weird saying it now because EA is like this monolithic gaming company now, but Madden almost bankrupted them. One of the things that John Madden insisted on when he agreed to attach his name to a video game was that it be an actual representation of a game. And when EA first brought him their first prototype of the game, it was 8-on-8. And he simply told them, this is not football. And when they told him it's not physically possible with the current hardware, he told them that they would have to wait. And that wait almost put them out of business, but thankfully it didn't. It paid off. The initial PC release of Madden was a pretty big hit in the PC community, but as we know it, Madden is the console giant. The first console Madden release was in 1990 for the Genesis, and by 1999, Madden had become one of the top selling video games every single year. Every release of Madden would be in the top 10 or sometimes in the top 5. There was a streak from 2000 to 2009 where Madden was in the top 3 top selling video games in that 10-year stretch, just 1, 2, or 3 every single year. I noticed, I think at that point, for me, I had been playing Madden for most of my life. It was a game that had been introduced to me by my grandfather. And one of the reasons he introduced it to me is because he wanted somebody to play against because he was a gamer himself. He was retired and a gamer. And the other reason was he knew that if I played the game that I would learn football a lot better and that when I was watching the game, I would ask a lot less questions. And that's one thing I wanted to ask, that especially Damien and Tate, And Rory, I'm sure you have a history with Madden as well, but how were you guys introduced to the game itself? You know, around what era were you picking the game up, and how was it introduced to you?
Okay, so I'll start. I was an originalist. I started at the Apple II, and
wow.
Yeah, so I had friends who had Apple II, and they played it and they got it. I remember it came in this ridiculous packaging. You know, they pulled it out. But yeah, been playing since '88, and then but I didn't. I think it was a hiatus, and then my first year in college, 91, 92 was back to and Madden. We had two, parts of the residence hall. We had people who played Tecmo Bowl. We had people who played Madden. The people who played Madden, it's a smaller group. Everyone played the Tecmo Bowl, but Madden was there. So yeah, I played, on and off throughout the years, but I'm a big fan of the college game more so than Madden.
What about you, Damien?
Yeah, I started on the first Madden too. I actually was one of those original Tecmo Bowl players. Spent a lot of my free time as a kid playing that. Madden was the first football game where you actually had to use some kind of football strategy in order to actually do well about it. You remember Tecmo Bowl, Super Tecmo Bowl. In those games, it was random based on the play you picked. And as long as somebody didn't pick the play that you picked, where everybody would blitz in, you could have relative success. Madden was the first game where you really had to try and trick your opponent and do things that they weren't expecting you to do. So, like I said, it started. I was with Roy also when it came to. I also played college football too, but I never. To me, I thought the games were a lot similar. With college, obviously coming from Madden, in college you could make a lot more superstar plays, whereas with Madden you always had to get it back to the X's and O's. And I think that's why a lot of like Rory said, the Madden players were a lot smaller group than the Tecmo Bowl players. And I think that's why, because unless you knew how to set your play up, you weren't going to make the big plays like you could in Tecmo Bowl, which for younger people, when we were that age, a big part of what we wanted to do when we played the game.
And lastly, what about you, Tate?
Yeah, man, I was around for all that, man. And we had an Apple IIe computer, so we had the computer. I never played the game on there. I did play Tecmo Bowl, obviously. A lot of the time, I liked to play with the Bears back then and Walter Payton. But yeah, they did have like unstoppable plays on Tecmo Bowl you could do. I was a big fan of Bill Walsh college football when that was a thing. We played that. They had the throwback teams, and you could use those teams and stuff because, and Rory knew later, but Damien, we grew up with it. Me and my brother grew up, we shared a basement. We had like a pool table. We did all kinds of stuff in the basement. We had like game nights. We had a pool table. We didn't shoot pool. We shot dice. We had friends over, skip parties. It was like, hey, if you know me and you watching this, you know about the basement. Oh, yeah, you know about the basement. Just like I got the tape, y'all know about the basement. But nah, man, as far as my introduction to it is funny, right? I mean, because I was introduced to it after my senior year of high school. Like, I graduated in 1991. Then, I feel like that fall, because I believe on Sega Genesis, Madden 92 was the first game that I played in Madden. And my cousin and Damien's cousin, and Rory knows him too, Ryan, RP, shout out to the homie RP. He had the game. He's 6 years younger than me, so I'm like 18, he like 12. I'm going to hang out with my 12-year-old cousin because he got the Madden, right? I would take a friend over there, me and my boy Shane, RIP Shane, and our cousin Lamar. We go over there, we hang out with Ryan because he got the game and he got Madden. And we go over there and play. I remember the Houston Oilers was one of the team I like to use with Warren Moon and the run and shoot offense. And I think the Eagles were a good team back then on that game. But yeah, so it's funny. Since we're talking about it real quick, I'll just go ahead and introduce this. This is what it looked like on Sega Genesis, Madden 92.
Yes, sir.
The little graphics, and you get a selection of plays. You want to go left, you want to go center, you want to go right, right? I mean, so it wasn't the extravagance and nuance it is to it now, and just to show how digitally it's come along in all this way. This is what wrong one. But yeah, so this is what it looks like now. The Madden, did I put it up? Oh yeah, here it is. The Madden now, the graphics and the gameplay, it looks like this. Look how much more realistic that looks, right? I mean, so just to know that I played then and I stopped. I was telling the guys I stopped in like around 2000, 2001. I probably had a good 10-year run in Madden. I started getting whooped, and by this time, like they were saying, some people everybody was choosing Madden, like from I say the mid 90s all the way through, right? And Steven will sure let us know where the game stands now. But yeah, so I stopped because everybody played. We gambled a lot. I mean, I think the highest game I gambled on, I know Damien's gambled a lot more than me because I quit a lot earlier, but $200 on a game, and I got whooped, and we used to play, but they had to make up the 21-point rule. If you're down by 21 anytime a game is over, because people would literally be waiting. Now it's changed. You can get online and play and do all this different kind of stuff, but we were dudes sitting in the basement or over a friend's house, everybody waiting on their turn. It'd be like 4 o'clock in the afternoon when you get started. You might not leave at 9 o'clock. You might play 1, maybe 2 games, right? And I was like, at that time, I got to stop this, man. I'm wasting too much time wanting to play Madden in these games. So I kind of gave it up about 25 years ago. But, yeah, man, I know it's still been a thing over all those years. My brother kept up on it. I don't know if he still does now. I know recently he was playing online and all that stuff like that. But, yeah, so that's my experience with the John Madden football.
So Tate brings up a great point about the gambling and kind of how Madden as a game, because you guys did bring up a really good point. Madden 92, 93 are the two ones where most people started. And if you played on Genesis, you know it. It had that tall cartridge that was way bigger than all the rest of them. Those games came out on systems, the Genesis and the Super NES, that were considered toys for kids. Gaming was not what it is now, where it's just a part of culture and everyone does it. Kids played games, and Madden kind of broke that completely down.
Can I ask you a question? When you say it's a part of culture now, because of the people that grew up on it now?
Yes, absolutely. The people who run all of the big companies are the people who grew up playing games and wanted to make jobs out of it. But go ahead, Damien.
No. I was just waving my hand as one of the people that grew up from the beginning, and now I'm a grown man where it's more than a kid's game. It's part of the culture. I was just agreeing with what y'all were saying. Like, I'm one of those very people.
But yeah, I think it's interesting that especially Madden 92 and 93 again came out on the kids games, and it didn't matter if you were a kid or you were a dope boy or whatever. When you went in the barbershop, you saw everybody, like Kevin said, waiting to get a turn on the game. It might be Bama's in there just waiting to play Madden, and it became what it did very organically. And I think that's really interesting because you don't have that in gaming now. Everything is very deliberate. Everything is marketed in a really
niche. It's a lot more niche now.
And exactly, there are bubbles where you're trying to sell to a specific person, where Madden just became this thing where, okay, do you own a game system? You probably have this year's Madden. And as it got bigger, the effect that it had on the game was amazing. You started to see people take for granted what a football broadcast is now. When you see a play developing, you hear all the sounds on the field. You hear the signals being called by the offense and the defense. You see the play clock and the game clock. You have a heads-up display of where the first down marker and stuff are. If you go back, you don't have to go back that far to see all of those things disappear from football broadcasts. You just have to go to the mid-90s. And the reason that you see that is because those elements came from Madden. Those are elements that were a part of the game that made it easier for us as players to read what was going on. And the people who were doing television broadcasts noticed, this will make the game easier for people to watch. And it'll be more immersive if they can hear in between the plays before the play starts. It's like a story that never stops if they can hear the signals and they can hear the guys in the huddle. There's no break. It feels like a continuous thing. And it just it got to a point where it is now where they look exactly the same. They started taking so much stuff from each other that they're one and the same. And I think that kind of brings us to the next big thing that I wanted to talk about is when you look at a generation like mine, where I'm not no athlete, but there are definitely players in the league that came up on Madden. Madden affected the way that they wanted to play the game. And you go from a point where it's a game to no, it is the culture now. The guys who play the game talk about playing as themselves, and they care about their ratings in the game, you know? So it's I do want to talk about that because I think it covers this point that I really want to make, is that for a long time, Madden was the NFL's best marketing tool to gain new young fans of football. I know it's how it got me. I know my younger brother, it really is how it got him. He was not somebody who watched football. His friends started playing Mutt, and he got into Madden, and now he watches. You know, he's a fan. He's a fair weather fan because I don't know who he root for. He might be a New England or Denver fan this year. Who knows? But he still watches the game, and he follows the game a lot like I did as I became a teenager, from a kid who was playing Madden to somebody who was like, now I got to watch SportsCenter every day. I got to know the stats. I need to follow this game. I love this game. It all came from Madden. I think I want to make that point. Now, if anybody has anything they want to jump in with.
No, I think a big part of the blow up of fantasy football came off of Madden and people that were able to follow Madden and understand the attributes of each player. You know, someone back then, like say Santonio Holmes, not Santonio Holmes. I forget, he played for my Eagles back in 2004. But he was just a real speedster, you know. And when it comes to, I think fantasy football built on top of that, because that's how people started to understand those who weren't, well, as you say, were fair weather friends. That was another way in which case they could really be engaged and educated and know and understand fantasy football and the concept and how to win off of that also.
I would definitely agree with that. So much so that Madden has evolved from a game that when you played it, the stats were not updated when you bought that year's game. When you bought that year's game, it was a snapshot of what they thought everybody would be like that year. Really what you were playing was last year's stats and their projection of what they thought people would look like the next year. To Madden stats get updated weekly during the season. They update all of the player stats based on their actual real game performance. So what Damian is saying is true. People used Madden to help them decide moves to make in fantasy football. You know, it's a stream of information that not everybody in your league might not be looking at. Now everybody probably does. But that's the kind of thing you're talking about, where it becomes this marketing tool for the culture that gets someone into football, and now they're wrapped up in everything that has to do with football. I think more recently you see a shift away from that. And one of the things I do want to point out before we move on is Kevin brought up that those two images of the original Madden that he played 92 and one of the current versions. And during that stretch, Madden was one of the games where it was kind of like at the forefront of new technology. If you got Madden, you were getting one of the best looking, best sounding games on the system. It was going to have the really cutting edge graphics. It was really, they were the forerunner. They were the forefront for the industry because they had all the money. They were selling, every year they were selling everything so they could invest in it. We've actually seen that slow down dramatically as well. When the shift from gaming became, okay, how do you get a person to buy my game, versus now that we live online, how do I get a person to play the game forever? How do I get them to play it a lot? Their focus stopped being on, we need to be the best looking, everything like that. And we need to be a thing that we can get people kind of addicted to. Which kind of brings us to where I want to land and where I kind of want the meat of the conversation to be, is that as we get into like the 2010s, Madden starts to see, you know, it's start kind of plateau. You know, I think what you have is there is a gap in generations of kids who really cared about Madden. It got to a point where it was cool to not play Madden. It was cooler to play Call of Duty. It was cooler to play some of these other emerging, like Halo, some of these other games that were emerging as big competitive and marketing giants that we especially with Call of Duty. Call of Duty is probably maybe the second biggest franchise in gaming right now. But as we saw it shift away from that, you saw the creators of Madden try different things to keep Madden relevant and to keep it be a revenue generator. And I think the big shift now is that it's not a marketing tool anymore. It generates revenue. People who play Madden now buy Madden a lot of times to play Madden Ultimate Team. And Madden Ultimate Team, whether you play it or not, this is not an indictment of you, but it is very, very predatory in how it's set up. And it ultimately is gambling. You're spending money to try to get the best guy or the 88, the 95 Emmitt Smith or I don't know, you know, the 2004, 2006 Ben Roethlisberger. You're spending a lot of money on this game, and it's been a shift where they're not trying to sell it to everybody. The people who spend a lot of money on Madden Ultimate Team are who keep the game going. So I would say this is a question that I ask you guys. Do you guys think that the NFL currently has a problem with developing and growing a young audience?
I'll go first on that one. Go ahead, Roy. You can go.
I think the NFL messed up when they gave the exclusive franchise tag to EA, because I remember, I mean, I loved 2K. I hate to say, like, I love Madden, but when 2K came on the scene, 2K changed it. And I think 2K was also forcing Madden to become a better game at the same time. And EA just didn't like that competition. So it kind of eradicated the competition by getting the exclusive tag, you know, then the games from, you know, Madden have somewhat unfortunately plateaued. People hate the game. I mean, if you look at the if you look at the you know, like when you go to purchase a game, people just between 2K basketball and 2K and EA Madden, people just hate those games now. Like, people just say same old game recycled, same old game recycled. And I'm like, first of all, it's not the same old game recycled, because there's upgrades to these games, but people do hate the game because I think they hate it because there's no competition. You know, Madden has an exclusive, you know, clientele now because you got nowhere else to go. You literally have nowhere else to go for football, where, you know, for a short second they had 2K and EA, but they do have a problem in recruiting. And people, so yeah, people go online now, and you go online and you get whooped by someone. You know what I mean? And that person whooping you is televising it to the whole world on top of it. So I mean, why would you want to go online to play someone? But that's just my take on it. Go ahead, Kev.
My take is, because the question as I took it was, is the NFL hurting? I think the NFL is growing exponentially. The NFL is not losing business because of Madden, you know, or the lack thereof of Madden's plateauing, right? I mean, now, could the NFL be growing more if Madden, the game Madden, was still at its peak? Then I think yes, but NFL is not hurting. They're playing games globally. They're looking to expand globally, and, you know, all this different stuff. The salary cap goes up every year. So to me, when you ask the question, is the NFL hurting because of it? To me, the specific answer is no.
I'm not saying are they hurting. I'm asking, do we think they have a problem specifically recruiting young audience members? Specifically.
Well, I don't think so. I think the audience is the audience, right? Now, maybe because gamers, now they have so many different options, right? So if you're playing Call of Duty and Halo, you're not playing Madden. They're not similar games, right? Nope. Yeah, so they're not even in competition with each other. You know, if you a football game can't corner the gaming market. Like, you got all these different games. Some people play, what's the MLB, the big show, right? Baseball has its
Yeah,
own
the show,
game.
yeah.
And
MLB the show, yeah.
2K, basketball has its own game, and even soccer, World Cup. I mean, so many different things. I mean, I bet Madden is still a big seller in the football video gaming market. I bet that. Now, is it ever going to be what it was after it came out those first 10, 12, 15 years? Probably not. But is it still going to maintain and sustain its consistency and viability amongst the football fans? I think so.
Damien, go ahead, jump in, man.
I lie right between Roy and Kevin, because Kevin, what he said is spot on. I think football and the people that love football, that's much, much bigger than Madden alone. The NFL has many ways in which case to grow their brand to make people love it on top of just Madden. And I know that's how Roy, and I know I agree with Roy when it comes to people hate Madden in the game because they had the exclusive rights. So you had to kind of take what they gave. And like you said, everything you said was true, Steve. It's cutting edge, all of that. What Roy says is true in that if 2K wasn't cut out like they were, because nobody wants to, you want to play with NFL players, you want to play with NFL brands, you want to feel like you're in the NFL game. And 2K tried. They tried to have simulations with brand and no name players and teams like the Connecticut dogs or whatever, but
And then all pro, remember that all pro football for hot second?
Yes, and we actually gave it a little try. The flow of it was actually pretty good, but because it wasn't NFL, we didn't stick with it, and so we have people in our group that complain just how you heard Roy saying about it's the same game, they give you a little bit every year. Well, Madden also does that because they're a business and they can't give you everything that they got all at once or they'll have nothing to sell the next year.
iPhone does that. Apple does. Everybody does that.
Right.
Well, I want to Rory and David, I want to be clear. I didn't bring up 2K because I didn't think it was as relevant to the argument that I was making about it being a marketing tool, because I think the NFL made a deliberate decision when they partnered with EA. They approached EA. It wasn't the other way around. The NFL had an idea that they saw what was happening. They wanted to attach their name to one of these games officially so they could start cross-branding and start marketing, which is what they immediately did. Madden branding started being a part of a lot of the Sunday broadcasting, and I think it still is. Don't they still use the Madden, like Madden to show like replays and stuff like that? So I think that the NFL was very shrewd when they made that decision, and I think that they were also very shrewd to let EA take a lot of the blame for, essentially shutting down competition in the video game football sports market. But I think ultimately all of that was deliberate. And I think that the NFL does have a problem with youth. And I'll say why. I think they're showing their hand with the things that they've been doing the last 3 or 4 years. You've had 2 simulcasts of the Super Bowl on Nickelodeon. You have them chasing, and we can agree on this or not, whether it's chasing or not, but they are chasing the South American, Hispanic, and Mexican markets. And the reason they're doing that is because that market is younger than what they have here. And you look at, I think, thirdly, the last thing is these desperate attempts to get young Americans interested in football, i.e. the obsession with Taylor Swift. Now, I'm not going to hate on the NFL's game. I think it's smart. If you can get them Swifties to watch football, get them to watch football, because now you got a bunch of non-football watchers watching football. But I think that is another signal that, hey, young people, you should watch football. Football's cool. Look, Taylor Swift, her boyfriend, played football for Super Bowl winning and stuff. I think all of these things are them showing their hand of what they're trying to do. And I think that, go ahead.
No, I was to what you're saying right now. I was just going to say, I think that's, and we worked together in the marketing department for a lot of years. We worked in marketing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so I think that is just a direct attempt at trying to acquire a new market. I mean, markets change, markets grow, markets evolve. I mean, so but what you're talking about is only for a moment. Taylor Swift not going to be relevant forever. Football going to be around.
True.
when Taylor Swift is married to Travis Kelce and they doing whatever they do and all that. So they're taking advantage of the opportunity. Yeah, it's a win for the NFL when Travis Kelce, one of their players, is with a pop icon, right? Or Russell Wilson is married to Sierra, or all these different kind of things like that. Tom Brady was with Giselle, supermodel, all that stuff. All that stuff benefits NFL, so they paying to these people in the broadcast and the boxes and stuff, say, hey, look, the NFL is so cool. All these people come see our game.
Exactly.
But at the root of it is still about the fans. And I think they're trying to target young people. I watch NFL games with a Nickelodeon broadcast. You know what I mean? You can do that now. I mean, you got that option. So I really think, and for the average football fans that just want to watch it, have it on TV, but kind of have fun with it, you can watch Monday Night Football with the Manning brothers and all these different avenues and things on the menu they're catering to give you. And we all know that TV watching is different now with young people. They don't watch the broadcast on TV. It's a highlight culture. It's a microwave culture, right? So they can look at the highlights, a 2-minute highlight reel, and see the score, and they're satisfied, right? We're football fans where we watch.
I got to see the game. And
everybody won't be like that. But so the NFL has went a whole lot of other places. For example, next week is going to be the schedule release. They're going to ration it out. People are looking, but the football fans looking forward to the schedule release. The novice, average onlooker, I wouldn't even call them a fan, onlooker is not going to care as much. They're going to get their schedule when the whole thing comes out. They're going to look at it. But we pay attention to, this game is a London game. This game is a Mexico City game. We're waiting on the schedule release of all games to see we want to know, most importantly, where our teams are playing. But you also want to know the bigger picture because you're an NFL fan. So even with the NFL tying itself to EA Sports, I see that as a branding opportunity that they took to hitch themselves to the popular thing, which was Madden, right? So, yeah, they cut out some of the competition. So 2K is going to be more mad at that than anyone else, in my opinion. I mean, but the NFL and Madden did what they wanted to do to, at that time, expand the brand. I don't think that they're any worse off because of that decision right now, in my opinion.
Agreed. And can I get your opinion on something, Steve? Because it's something you brought up at the beginning of the show when you started talking, and it got my mind thinking, and I think you was onto something. Madden did make a strategic change in how they were going to market and who they were going to cater to, because as you say now, it's geared towards the Madden Ultimate Team MUT, things where you do things to gamble and make achievements and get the best player. Whereas 15 years ago, when I was heaviest into it, and when I say heaviest into it, I was internet. I got up to 141 in the world as far as the internet rankings go, but that's what it was about, and that's what it's always been about for me from the very beginning, is the competition thing. The people I'm playing against, I'm gonna beat you. When it got online and the platform grew, no matter what the rules set based off of gameplay, plays being easy, magic plays, all of that, I was going to beat you. And that was my motivation for it. I think now with all of the gambling and everything that goes on with it, Madden made a strategic shift to say, okay, now we're going to cater it towards this way versus just head-to-head competition and trying to climb the rankings and for the title of who's the best, like the Madden Bus and Madden Nation and all of that they had years ago. It was all geared towards gamer competition. Now it's geared towards achieve this, earn this, and get this payoff. And I just wanted to know what you thought, because you seem to know a lot more about the inner workings in that way than I do.
So this is really good because it kind of brings us on the last point that I wanted to talk about. And this kind of ties into one of our first episodes that we have up, where we talk about the Saudi Group's purchase of EA Sports and what that meant for Madden itself and just the gaming world in general. But first, I want to break something down too. I want to say that like the monetization of gaming, which is meaning when I buy a game, they're trying to continue to sell me things after I buy the game, which was never a thing in the past. There wasn't really a mechanism to do that. Now that everything's online, it's possible. But the monetization of gaming was not really initiated by Madden. And that's not to say that EA didn't want to do that. Of course they probably did. Everybody wanted to get to where gaming is now, but games like Fortnite, games like Apex Legends, these games that are free up front, but ultimately if you begin to play them, you will spend money on them, oftentimes far more money than you would ever spend just buying a single game in the store. That's what drives gaming in general now. Instead of it just being a game that you buy for your friends, they want you to continue to spend money and over and over and over again. And since they've been successful at that, specifically EA with Madden Ultimate Team, that is going to be the drive forever now, because you don't need 10 million people to buy your game if one person spends $10,000 on it after they purchased it. So, and that's like an extreme example, but you have to remember that millions of people are still buying Madden. And then those people are spending hundreds of dollars to play Madden Ultimate Game after they purchase the game. That's going to be their customer now. It's exactly what Kevin said about a niche, everything being niche. Well, these specific types of companies, like the company that owns EA now, have understood that I don't need to sell a bunch of these games. I just need, like a casino, I need a few whales that are going to keep the house running. And then each year I'm going to keep bringing it out and giving it to them. And then I think what that ultimately does is where we're at now, where the Madden name is a bit degraded and eroded, and it becomes a thing where you either play it or you don't. It's not a thing that grabs new players anymore. Like it was a given where if you were a gamer during a certain period, you were going to play Madden because everybody bought Madden. And now things are so segmented and niche that it's not possible. Kind of jumping off what Kevin said, they'll never sell the numbers that they sold before, because that type of game does not do that anymore. You know, you have one-offs like a GTA or something like that, where it's the best-selling thing ever of all time, but there's no annual game that comes out that everybody buys. Those are now free, and you pay to play them every month. So I think it's interesting. I think it's interesting that happened so rapidly because of how monolithic the franchise was. It was, again, for me, it was just a part of the NFL culture. You played Madden. Whether you gambled or didn't, you were around Madden. Somebody that you knew played Madden, took it real serious, like Damien. Or maybe you was on the outskirts, maybe you was okay, but you was on the outskirts like me, and it feels like Rory and Tater saying. But it's just been such a dramatic shift to me. It's funny because I feel like as a blind spot, the NFL kind of gave up this really great recruiting tool, especially for young people. Whereas now Madden, a lot of parents won't even let their kids play the game because they don't want them to spend up their money on their credit card. You know what I mean? It's kind of one of those things where it started out as a kid's game, and now it's come around to only we play it. It's kind of like what Kevin said, and I agree, Kevin. I think the NFL doesn't have a problem. I think the NFL is going to persist, but I think eventually you have to try to get young people to actually watch the games. I don't think you can live off of highlight culture. I don't think that's possible.
But more people watch the NFL than any other sport.
True.
One.
Yes.
So there's that, right? If you're gonna watch
in the
entire
US, yes.
In the US, but I mean when they travel, yeah, because it's an American sport.
Right.
But when it travels, they sell out stadiums. Stadiums that are bigger than the stadiums in the United States, they sell them out. They go play. Last year they played in Ireland. They play in Mexico City. This year they're going to play in Australia. They're worldwide, and they sell out. People love that American game. The physicality of it, the combativeness of it. I think they love all those aspects of the American game. I mean, and I think it's going to be real big in Australia. I mean, look how they like rugby down there, right? I mean, so it's going to be huge. So I think things evolve, things change, and the NFL has to change along with it. You're not going to have like younger kids like you born in 86. Born in 86 when Madden started when you were two. So yeah, you grew up with it. I didn't grow up with it. I played it for a time and I stopped, but I'm still in it. I've been in NFL since 78 that I remember. You know what I mean? I would come home from school. My mom would let me do my homework, do my chores. I could take a nap on Monday so I could stay up and watch Monday Night Football. I was a fan like that. We're talking about 7, 8 years old. So when the game came out, I was a fan of it, not because of the game and the video gaming, but because it was a football game that I could play and kind of strategize with and all that stuff like that. It was better than the Tecmo Bowl. And if you remember, Damon, I know you remember, Damon, you too probably, Rory, maybe not Steven, the little handheld game with the little red dots and you're playing and moving up and down and trying to get your, you know what I mean? Remember those handheld football games?
Yep.
All those things. We did that stuff before Madden was even ever a thing. So football is part of our foundational from, you know, inclination really to now. I mean, I'm a 50-plus-year-old man, but football with me goes back for over 40 years, right? So, and Madden was part of my journey, but it didn't dictate my journey. So I think the NFL is doing just fine because it's expanded massively since when I said I started into where it is now, and I'm still part of it.
I agree with Kevin. And I would actually go further to say that I think Madden's fine too. I think Madden just persists. I mean, you just had a company buy their parent company for a multi-billion-dollar acquisition. And the reason they bought them was because of Madden and their FIFA. Well, it's not FIFA anymore. I don't know what it's called actually.
EAFC.
Yeah, so FC Ultimate Team is what it's called now. And Madden Ultimate Team generate billions of dollars a year. We know this because they actually EA had to disclose these things when they agreed to be bought.
Can I
What
ask you
Madden
this
did
too?
was laid the blueprint for all of
Right.
that, and
For
it grew
everything,
into the
yeah.
Everything,
the soccer, into the basketball.
Yes, yes, because 2K basketball has a very similar style of thing where you spend money to unlock things, and it's not made by EA, but they do the very same thing. So
Madden is the OG to the sports gaming culture.
Oh, absolutely, and really, I like this episode. I would say that it is just OG to gaming culture in general. It is gaming culture. Before whatever.
I don't know, man. We grew up on Pac-Man.
I was about to say. I feel like Madden is up there with Pac-Man. You had Pac-Man fever. Madden was
Madden's fever was longer than Pac-Man.
It was longer. So yeah,
and like you said, you had your different
Mario
groups
Brothers.
Right, because you had your adventure people, you had your people that like Contra and games like that are all part of the Call of Duty culture now, you know, and then you had your gamers like me who stick to sports competition and things like that, and then you had, as Roy talked about, your Mario Brothers and adventure game players where it was more like figuring out a puzzle and things like that. It goes back to what Kevin said. It starts with you get rooted in with what you're a fan of first, and then the video game grows it.
It expounds from that. And I would say this, Stephen, lastly, my point, when you can finish up and take us wherever you want to take us, is that what the NFL lost in Madden, what Madden also left the NFL, is the fantasy football culture. Let's not deny that. And that's larger than all of it.
That became Madden times a billion. It really did. And I don't think anybody saw that shit coming. It was like, you woke up one morning, it's like, oh shit, the whole office is gambling on fantasy football. Everybody.
I worked at Sam's Club in '94 in Lima, Ohio. And that was, to me, my first time playing fantasy football, being part of a group. And we drafted in person. You had to write that stuff down, all that stuff. Now anybody can play, because I hate that part of it too, but I get it gets more people, right? My sister plays in the fantasy group with us every year. She don't know nothing about that stuff. She just drafting and looking based off what they recommend and all that. And she's won a championship before.
Shout out to the OG website that got all these casuals into fantasy football. It's Yahoo Fantasy Football. All them banners, everybody had a Yahoo Fantasy Football league. They was inviting everybody. Like you said, it would be their girlfriend in the league. You like, yo, what are you doing? Be like, we need 12 people. And it's like, okay. Like, you know what I mean? You're like, you want to play. So
I just don't like the part people, because, you know, I like Damien, the competitive part of it. And, you know, I know Damien knows football. I know you know football, Steve and Roy. But for somebody to join the group, no problem with it, right? I mean, you do need the people in your league and stuff. But where it just directs you, it tells you, oh, who's going to do what. I like the knowledge of knowing, a team's roster. Like, I mean, I think maybe one of these times I'll start a expertly. But can you find a league you can do it where you don't get all that intel from the platform itself?
It's one of those things like you talked about, Kevin, where like you had the Madden tournament at the homie's house, and you had just Bamas that were not good at Madden because you needed a certain amount of people.
That's why the 21-point rule started.
Yeah, it ruins the competitive nature. Get them out of here, man. But no, I think, and Kevin, Roy, you can agree.
I became one of them.
We definitely got to double back and talk about fantasy football at some point. Whether we
before the season starts, we'll visit that.
Yeah, for sure. But with that, we want to go ahead and start our final comments. I think we'll go ahead and start with Rory. Rory, anything you want to say about Madden, about the NFL, youth recruiting tools for the NFL? Anything you want to say about that to wrap it up? It's cool.
NFL always got Texas football.
Or Rory, even
Rory part of that.
You can give us your worst Madden L. Actually, no, I'll start off. I'm gonna give y'all that. That's my worst Madden L.
Real quick though, bring this up. Rory and Damien used to play competitively. And I heard Damien say one thing this morning and Rory saying one thing.
Yeah, y'all gonna have to settle that.
I want to know what the truth is with both y'all here.
Yeah, so who beat who? Because it seemed like this fuzzy memory. One person think one person won, and the other person. That's not possible, guys. Somebody had to have won. So when y'all was scrapping back in the day, who got the better of who?
Well, you said keep receipts, right? So maybe on a later show, because what I do speaks for itself. Kevin knows he's just trying to instigate between me and Roy for conversation purposes. But we can get receipts of all the family members and people we played with back in the day, and that have witnessed me play, and I played Rory, and they will never recall Rory having more than one victory.
So you played Rory more than once. He only beat you one time.
And Rory is not Rory. You're just smiling. You're not denying any of this, which leads
receipts out there, Roy. We proved that at the beginning of the show.
I'm about to say, Rory, be careful
out there.
what you say, because you know you will get. They will pull the receipts on you.
They will pull the. Allow me to say this before you talk, Rory.
Look,
don't get caught up in the Epstein files.
Oh no,
that's all.
I do recall that I did beat Damien. But then Damien, he figured out my gameplay. And I think he's like, oh, he's got that going on, huh? And that was it. I think that might have been it.
Rory, that was the key to how I did. If you were going to get me, it was going to be the very first game we ever played. Because the more we played, like you said, the more I saw what you like to do and could adjust to it, that led to streaks.
Rory was a one-trick pony. After his one trick got found out, he was like, nope, I retire. I'm done. It's over.
No, but I wasn't a one-trick pony. Damien's good. Damien's good. He got up, but I mean, no one trick. He learned all the tricks were just, this defense can shut this down. He put people here and there. That was it.
He knows football. Like we used to play with guys that go for it on 4th and 18 on their own end of the field. And Damien always played like I'm never doing that because it's a real game. Madden simulates those outcomes not being your favor if you're doing dumb stuff like that, right? So you have to play the game like you play the game.
Oh yeah.
And Damien was one of the first people. I got a boy who used to play Damien all the time. We just laugh at him. He can't play spades either. I'm not gonna put no names out there, but I'm gonna send him this clip because he know who we talking about. But and yeah, I mean, because Damien played the game from a coaching perspective earlier, not a video game perspective. So, like you said, once he got that one opportunity with you, the first game you might beat him. I mean, I probably beat him more than once, but he's probably beat me 5 times to 1 over the history of whenever I used to play, right? But you know, I've beat him before, which is kind of why I gave it up because my brother was beating me. Then I was like, he was playing people that I was seeing, you know, going at it with him, and I didn't have it no more, and I was wasting time, so I gave it all up. But I definitely get it, and there is a way you have to look at it and play it and treat it like a football game and football strategy, not a video game and video strategy.
Okay, so I appreciate that, fellas. I'm gonna wrap it up myself with a short story real quick. As I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, Madden was introduced to me by my grandfather. My grandfather was a gamer before I was born, and that was well known. You know, it was old Atari cartridges and ColecoVision stuff in our basement from his old stuff. But he was a gamer and always played sports games, and he introduced me to Madden. On top of, we played baseball, we played video hockey, we played all of that stuff. But Madden was how I really got introduced to playing games for real. I stopped playing Madden the first time when my grandfather really lost his mental faculties and couldn't play the game anymore, because it was a thing that I really shared with him, and it didn't feel the same anymore. And I picked it back up when my brother reached out to me. He was about 16, and he asked me if I was getting Madden. And I picked it up, and me and him played. And for about 3 years, I would just grab Madden for my brother every year. Me and him would get it, and that would be the game that we would play. And on that third year, when my brother was 19, this may have been like the 2020, this may have been a COVID year. We loaded up a game. I picked the Cowboys. He picked Green Bay, and that Bama beat me 63-0. And I said, you know what? I'm done playing Madden forever. I'm done. I can't. He beat me so bad. I had no answer for none of the stuff. I tried to resort to my great football knowledge and just out-coach him, and that didn't work. You can just outskill people now. So I said, you know what? I'm done.
So what I hear you saying is your little brother made you retire.
My brother retired me. Yeah, my little brother retired me. He said, "You're not playing Madden no more. You better find something else." Okay. But yeah, guys, it's been a great show. Thanks everybody for joining us.
I just want to say one more thing, man. I mean, and we talk about Madden, but I mean, we talked about Madden the video game, but Madden, the man, Madden the coach, Madden brought football. The game helped, but Madden, the game is not a game without Madden. John Madden, the coach, the personality, all those things. John Madden is at one time, maybe still, I believe he's 100 wins, 32 losses, and 1 losses. He had the all-time highest winning percentage among coaches that coached over 100 games. John Madden did. If he still does it now, I don't know. I know at one time he did, and probably still is. I mean, that's like a heck of a record. That got to be around 70-some%, I would imagine. But there's that. Went to the Hall of Fame in 2006, and he only wanted to go in as a player. He could have went in as a contributor also from his broadcast and the video game and all that stuff. He turned that down. He's like, I'm a football coach. I just want to go as a football coach. So we talk about John Madden and what he meant to football, what he meant to broadcasting. I mean, because it was a big hole. People, John Madden is held in reverence in the broadcasting booth. I mean, somebody's always looking for that next Madden personality type, right?
Absolutely.
Somebody that can share the game like he shared it. I mean, so, and then there's the video game. So when we talk about football, you can't tell the story of football in the NFL without John Madden's name coming up somewhere. So I just want to pay much respect and homage to John Madden. I think he passed away a couple years ago.
True.
But yeah, without the man, there's not the other stuff. There's not the game. There wasn't his coaching. There wasn't his broadcasting, any of that stuff. So a Hall of Fame individual, both on and off the field.
Agree 100%. And, you know, with that said, I think we're going to wrap it up. We want to definitely thank Damian for joining us, everybody in the Know-It-All Nation for joining us.
Thank you.
Definitely check out those older episodes we referenced. Our episode about the EA Sports being acquired by the Saudi group. And there was another one that we referenced. I'm drawing a blank on that one.
Check them all out.
Yeah, check them all out. Make sure you like and subscribe to the show and to the channel. Go ahead and subscribe to the Know-It-All Nations channel, guys. And again, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next Thursday.
What you need to know.